Our next question is about athletic funding. We'd like to know how you guys feel about the issue in general, and where you feel the money should be going, and just in general, how do you feel about the specific uses of money towards athletics? Whenever you're ready, Matt.
Sure, and I'd appreciate it if I get a little bit more than 40 seconds just to kind of cover everything. It's been said that the Red Party wants to raise tuition. Let me first and foremost say that that is absolutely not true. In fact, the students, with very few exceptions, don't even have that kind of authority. With athletic funding, this current year, a committee called the Student Fee Assessment Committee, it meets every fall to determine, okay, there's a certain amount of fees that UNF can raise each year. 5% is the total amount that those fees can increase. So they're going to increase by 5% every year. The student's job is to help figure out, okay, given the increase, where's it going to go? This year, $1 of that increase, which is about $1.75, $1 that went straight to the new wellness center to populate that with equipment. So athletics kind of lost out. And this is what, a huge thing for our campaign is equipping our Division I athletics program with as many resources as we can to ensure they can get the job done for the students. Because there's a lot of talk this election about school spirit, but let me tell you what, I saw school spirit firsthand last weekend when the UNF basketball team was aired across the entire country.
Chris, because Matt had a minute on that question, you'll also have a minute, so whenever you're ready.
And to talk about the athletic funding, we already fund 87% through that student fee that he just talked about here on campus. And that's a lot of students' money. And that it's an option whether you want to raise it, that 5%. It can be raised 5%, and that's something that I look forward to doing. I want to be a leader that can stand up for the rights of students and care about their needs, because it's expensive to be a student here on campus. And so, to talk about school spirit, we are excited about having a school spirit agency, and how great it would have been if we were to watch it on TV and actually see our students there. There were so many people that didn't have the chance to be there because they didn't know about it. There was people who didn't care, and we'll make sure that every student cares. Every student will know our fight songs. We'll be at pep rallies. We'd have pep rallies for that event, and they would care. You won't see empty seats at our conference championship game.
Matt, whenever you're ready, if you'd like a rebuttal.
Yeah, this is clearly something that the two parties disagree on. I feel that a school spirit agency is simply a band-aid to this problem of school spirit. School spirit is not something that should be someone's job. School spirit's a feeling. School spirit is when Matt Sowie last year scored the game-winning basket against Belmont and the students stormed the court. It's when we went to the ASUN conference this year and we beat JU, we beat ETSU. And this is only going to happen if we give athletics the resources they need and we give the student athletes the resources they need to succeed. So we can't keep putting band-aids on this problem. It's not just about trying to herd students to events. It's about fixing the underlying problem, which is that our D1 program does not have the resources it needs to succeed at the level that all the students want.
The issue that we just talked about is plain and simple spirit. In general, obviously spirit is a problem. Do you feel like it's something that is simple and is easily related to athletics, or do you feel like there's a lot more complicated sides to the issue?
I think there's definitely a component that deals with how athletics perform, but at the same time, we don't have an organization on this campus that is promoting our fight songs, that is promoting our alma mater. The athletic department and student government both do a good job of dropping that ball one year or the next. And that happens quite frequently. But if you had an organization, because at many other universities, Auburn, South Carolina, Clemson, other big universities, they have organizations on their campus that are solely devoted to making sure that they have school spirit every single year, that they have pep rallies, they have people in charge of those events, because it doesn't just happen by themselves. And it's not just a band-aid to the solution, because if you made sure that you had people in those positions to make sure that happened, it would be there every single year, and people would care. And you would have organized events that would be great, and they would bring pride and unity to this campus, and I believe in that.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready, Matt.
Yeah, it's absolutely true that these bigger schools have these sort of, agencies and organizations, but the fact of the matter is that's because, they've had a much longer time to fix the foundational problems that we still face. Again, throwing money at an agency to try to get students to games means nothing if athletics as a whole doesn't have the resources they need to succeed. So again, it's fixing the foundational problems before we fix the surface problems of attendance and things like that. And I cannot stress that enough. And if you talk to anybody in the athletic department, anybody on any teams, and even the students in general, you'll see that that's a common theme.
One of the great things is I've talked to a lot of athletes here on this campus, and they all want school spirit. They want people to be proud of their university. They want people to do that. And it's not necessarily about winning and losing, but it's about taking pride in your campus here. And it's about taking pride in being an Osprey and being proud of that. People want to play better for that. They don't want to go play for an empty crowd that charges a lot of money to be there. That's just plain and simple. And that's the truth, that we want people to be proud, because if people are proud, they're loud, they're there on time, and they're there early. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that. I've talked to many different people from many sports, and they want people to be proud of their school.
We're obviously talking about school spirit a lot, Matt. For this next question, plain and simple, you guys have talked about how you're looking to solve the school spirit problem. Can you tell us, what do you think is wrong with school spirit, in terms of, is there any things that are causing this, or just in general, what do you think is wrong with school spirit on this campus?
Sure. Well, school spirit, it's the feeling you get about being prideful in things at your university. If you look at our initiative list, which is on our Facebook page and et cetera, all there, everything on that list is a little thing that the students can, again, going back to the theme, is something they can hold on to, something they can be proud of. So, I will agree that it's not just about athletics, it's not just about clubs, it's not just about any one of these things. But again, if you look at our system as a whole, these foundational problems are still there. There are too many restrictions on clubs and how they can spend their money. Obviously the athletic issue. All of these things that contribute to school spirit are being held back by the foundational problems, and that's what we want to fix.
I think when you say, what is the foundation or what's wrong with the foundation, I think that's the point right there. There is no foundation right now. There's nothing organizationally on this campus that promotes school spirit. There's no one on this organization that will sing, the alma mater currently and make sure the students know it. There's no one that's promoting, the Osprey Creed, or there's no one on this campus making sure, that we have a fight song, or that we have people going to games. That's why we want to create a school spirit agency, because we want to make sure organizationally, and then there is a foundation. We want to provide that foundation to students, and we want to have a place where they can go to make sure that they know these things and they can be a part of it and they can make it great. Because people want to help the school. People love helping. People love volunteering their time to make things great, and especially when they know that they have the opportunity to do it.
Thank you. Matt, do you have a rebuttal?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's say that the school spirit agency materializes. All right, let's say that you have 50 members who come out to all these events, go out to all the athletic events. Then you're going to have a group of 50 students who know the fight songs, all of those things, but they're going to be segregated from the rest of the student body. That's the last thing we need. And to kind of go off of the concept of throwing money at agencies, at these events, we've done that in the past. That's what we've been doing. It doesn't work. If you have to give people like food and all these things for them to go to basketball games, for example, then that's the fundamental problem. They're going to the game because of the free food, not because of the team, and that's what we need to fix.
For Brockelman and Warren's closing comments, check out UNF Morning for the final part of the debate.